All right, so welcome back to the AM show brought to you by Syntex Tanks, Strong Air TAF, also Time Herbal Mixture as well. Now, today we're going to have a very interesting conversation about Africa. You know why? Because the time has come for Africa to take its place. We've always been saying Africa is blessed, Africa has this, but really, how are we taking the opportunities available on this continent? And that's why we need to talk about the Africa Prosperity Dialogues. This started some time ago and it's continuing this year. We have in the studio Gabby Asare Otchere-Darko. I'm sure when you hear the name, you know. I have to add the Esquire. Now, he is founder and executive chairman, Africa Prosperity Networks. They are the ones organizing the Africa Prosperity Dialogue. Good morning to you, sir.
Thanks to you.
I hope all is well.
I think so. Yeah. So far, so good.
Okay. You think so? People say when you say you think so, then there is something.
Yeah, no. I think that's just my style. If you say to me Happy New Year, I'll say I hope so.
Okay. So far, what's been happening with Africa Prosperity Network?
I think thanks to you, and good morning. I think we started back in 2022. We felt that, what happened just last week? There was this huge gathering at Davos, somewhere in an icy place in Switzerland. Remember the last time I was there in 2020? It's just icy. You can't even get a proper room to sleep in. and Africa, and if you notice, you look at all the footage of the coverage of Davos. Where do you see Africa? It's really on the sidelines. Small rooms and stuff. And that conversation is not really about us. Of course, our leaders go there because they have to be there. But it is really, we are more or less like a footnote in the global scheme of things, which is quite sad to a point, but it also reflects the reality that we've allowed ourselves to be stuck in. You heard yesterday, I think Donald Trump heaping praises on India. Why so? Because India is a huge economy. Why so? India has a population of 1.5 billion, similar to Africa's population. Okay? But India is one entity, so they're taken seriously.
Yeah.
We have the resources they have. We have even more resources than India. But it's a one nation, one destiny, and clearly the leadership has clarity, and we know who is what and where it is going.
Okay.
And India has states like we have in Africa, okay? India has different, even races, castes, languages, religions, all manner of stuff. But it's one country. China is also around the same population of ours. And they've been taken seriously because it is a one entity kind of thing.
Okay.
And when you have such an economy, it allows you to scale, okay? And if we go back to 1884, when they met in Berlin for the Berlin Conference, 1884-85, up until maybe 1924, about 90-something% of the borders that we have on the continent today were carved around that time for us. Actually, not for us, for them. For those who carved it, okay?
Yeah.
For their economic exploitation, where you have some demarcations going through even a household, Because, of course, they sat there, they didn't even know what the reality is. Say, okay, Ofaha, that kind of stuff. Yeah? And when in 1963, our, if you like, post-independence leaders met in Addis Ababa to set up the OAU, they agreed that for the sake of stability, let's maintain these borders that were carved for us. They were not our borders. You know, we didn't have Ghana. Even the Gold Coast didn't include what it is like Ghana now. Okay, so we maintained that. Of course, Nkrumah at the time had a vision to say that, look, let's build the United States of Africa. Okay? And then, of course, you have these people that have fought for independence and felt that, look, they need to exercise some sovereignty. And some even felt that Nkrumah was doing it for selfish gains. But he had seen the vision that, look, we can't go it fragmented with our little economies. We need to find a way to integrate, connect, and scale. And we'll be taken seriously.
Because that would have made us or put us in the region of India and China.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then what happens is that you then have a customs union, in a sense that when you set up a factory in maybe Dakar, okay, there are no tariffs to sell to the bigger market, as in 1.5 billion. And what that does is that it encourages, it serves as an incentive for manufacturers within the continent and outside the continent to set up, because they know that they have access to this larger market rather than just a market of,
say, like Ghana,
35 million or thereabout. But we weren't able to do that. And then in Abuja, I'm sure you've heard of the Abuja Treaty of 1991, we realized that, meanwhile, in 1963, when OAU was set up, in Europe, they realized that, look, the best way to stop the wars, because they had two bloody wars, the First World War, and of course, the Second World War. It all started in Europe and affected the whole world. They felt that the best way to stop these wars was to come together. Okay, they started by creating a common sort of market for their steel and the rest of it. That's how it started. And then they built what we now know as the European Union. Now, in 1981, our leaders met in Abuja and came up with an Abuja Treaty, which essentially was to create the economic community of Africa. They said to themselves that, look, we need to build a customs union, but let's start with the regional communities, all right? And in 1994, they then said that let's give ourselves 34 years. And within 34 years, we'll have a customs union, in a sense that people, goods, and services
move freely,
could travel freely and move freely across the member states.
Was that where the common currency was mooted?
Yes, of course. The ECO and all of them started around that time, 92, I believe it was. And they gave themselves 34 years in 1994. And I believe that, it may sound cynical, but it's as if when they gave themselves 34 years, they probably felt that it would never come. Because many of them didn't expect to be there, of course. We still have some around, Sylvanese and the rest of them. And the 34 years is before us today. In 2028, 34 years is before us, but we don't have the customs. Okay? We don't have, America can get up to today, as it did recently, and say that I imposed tariffs on us. And then we're running ahead of ourselves. What do we do? Because in Lesotho, they rely on their textiles being sent to America. Whereas there's a greater market within the continent. But we haven't allowed that, because if we don't make use of this single market, how then are we going to deal with the youth bulge? On this continent at the moment, 60% of the population are below the age of 25. We're told that by 2030, 70% of the world's population under 35 will be in Africa. And this population will grow and grow, and then we have to ask ourselves the serious questions. How are we going to satisfy this youth bulge? How are we going to create employment for the young people. Even today, name me one African country that is not struggling with youth unemployment. Yet we're stuck in these colonial boundaries that were demarcated for us and hoping that we can create the jobs in this digital space.
So why do you think of all of this, we've still not been able to realize that our unity lies in our success?
That's a very good question. It is not that we do not realize it, because our leaders have realized it. And they've realized that that's why they signed the Abuja Treaty. They've realized that that's why they signed the Constitutive Act that formed the AU in 2001, 2002.
Okay.
They realized that that's why they signed the protocol for free movement of people in January 2018 in Addis Ababa. They realized that. That's why they signed the agreement that set up the African Continental Free Trade Area in March 2018.
We love setting up things.
In Kigali. Okay, they realized that. That's why they adopted the Digital Trade Protocol, AFCFTA Digital Trade Protocol in 2024. They realized that. That's why they adopted the Women and Youth Trade Protocol in 2024. Okay. So they realized all these things. But what has been lacking is the political will. Imagine that you can't have a single market without free movement of people, that you can settle anywhere to do business. But even though they adopted that protocol in 2018, only 4 countries have signed up to it. 4 countries. And I believe it needs about 15 or 16 countries to actually be ratified. Only 4 countries. The last country was Niger. I believe Niger is not even now part of the EU.
Okay. Well, yes.
Yes.
The Sahel.
Okay. Yes, of course. So that's the challenge. So how then can you have a single market if we don't have free movement of people, goods and services? Okay? But they've created a framework, but haven't had the political courage or will to implement it. And you asked the question, why not? And I believe that it stems from something that has come to mind. I remember, was it last year? I was in Reykjavik, Iceland. And in conversations that Iceland, can you imagine, not Africa, far away Iceland. Not Greenland, by the way. I think we should know the difference between Iceland and Greenland. And the conversation there of some serious African business people was about the ease of travel within the continent. Okay? We went for a social event, but the conversation was about ease of travel. And if you remember, I think a year earlier in Kigali, Dangote had mentioned that he needs 33 visas to travel across the continent. And he hasn't got the time to go to an embassy to do that because he's a serious businessman. He has his own plane, but he doesn't have an African passport to travel freely across the continent. So I think when my wife and I got back, we started thinking that, look, I think we know where the problem is that Pan-Africanism per se has been confined to the space of the elite. In a sense, the intellectual elite.
Or kept in the books.
Elite. They meet at summits. They sign communiques. It is at that level. But it hasn't trickled down, has been forced and owned and driven by the people of the continent. In a sense that the young woman graduate in Ghana who's struggling to find a job, but who has skills or has ideas, but not able to express it, can't unleash them because of the constraints that she finds around herself.
But even within the elite, doesn't it just exist just in namesake, but in this belief, does it?
So, and I think I mentioned the lack of political will. Okay? So what we thought we should do with APD 2026, and if you recognize the theme is empowering SMEs, women and youth in the single market.
Innovate, collaborate,
trade. Okay? And if you look at it, 80% of employment on the continent, roughly 80%, are within the SME sector. 90% of economic activity is within the SME sector. I believe about 33% of businesses are owned or run by women. Okay? And the future is the youth. I remember our president saying, he gave this very important speech, profound speech, at the UN, and said that Africa is the future.
Yeah.
What I would add is that the youth is the future of Africa, are the future. So if Africa is the future and the youth make up the future, then how do we empower the youth so they can then drive the future?
Okay.
I don't know if you get it.
I get it, yes. Yeah.
So,
because when you empower the youth, of course you're empowering tomorrow.
Precisely. And yes, efforts are being made. But we thought that, look, let the whole struggle for economic integration on the continent, let's move it away from the leadership level, okay, to the people.
Okay.
In a sense that let the African SME, let the African woman, let the African youth, let the people of Africa in general think that, look, this single market is for me. It's for my benefit. It's for the benefit of my family. It's for the benefit of my community, because it allows us to scale. I mean, imagine, for instance, you're a fashion designer in Tamale, okay? And now with the use of the digital tools, you advertise your clothes on Instagram. Someone in Cairo, or Nairobi, sees it and wants to buy it. But they want to be able to buy it with their mobile money wallet. Yeah. Okay? Using their local currency. And you receive it in Tamale in your cities without having to go through the dollar or that kind of stuff. Okay? Because it costs about $5 billion just to trade among ourselves using a third currency. Okay? We've been trying to get, you mentioned the IKU. We've been trying to do it for the last, 30 years or so. We're not able to do it because of the convergence criteria. Okay? Today your inflation may be okay. Tomorrow it may not be okay. And your interest rate is okay. Your depreciation, so we are not able to do that. But then allowing continent-wide mobile money interoperability is a shortcut to getting that done. Then the question will be asked, but look, if I'm able to advertise my goods, clothes, and someone in Cairo can buy it, how do we then get it to the person? Because the continent lacks infrastructure. My argument, counter-argument to that is that once you create the demand and the supply, and you find a way for the demand, for the supply to find demand across the continent, and then there's consideration you can buy and sell, it creates the incentives to have our own Amazons. It creates the incentive. And linked to that is also about what they call the single African air transport market. In 1999, our leaders, once again, met in Yamoussoukro. They called it the Yamoussoukro decision, and took a decision that, look, let's have free skies, in the sense that Ethiopian Airlines can leave Accra today, this morning, and fly directly to Cote d'Ivoire and back, or fly to, it doesn't have to go through Addis Ababa. Kenyan Airways does not have to go through, from Nairobi, it can go to maybe Kampala. From Kampala, it can take people from Kampala to Cairo without having to. So we want to have these free skies. We don't have that. But yet, we had the Yamoussoukro decision of 1999 and has been escalated to the SATAM, i.e. the Single Air Traffic Market Protocol of 2018. Yet it has not been ratified or implemented across the entire market.
So let me ask you, in all of these protocols, dialogues, meetings, and we are not able to actualize the dreams, how is APD set out to change the narrative such that it will not just remain in the dialogue, but it will be different?
Yes, not just the talk.
Yes.
We want to do something differently. What we want, we are launching what we call the Make Africa Borderless Now movement at APD 2026.
Okay.
And what are we seeking to achieve? We are seeking to secure 10 million signatures of Africans, and people of African descent. So it could be those in the diaspora, or if you like, in Friends of Africa. And within is a one-year campaign that we want to run. 10 million seems ambitious, but it's just to tell the scale and the urgency of the issues before us. Where Africans say we want a visa-free Africa. We want to have a continent-wide intermobile operability, implement PAPS, i.e. the Pan-African Payments Settlement System. Okay, we want to have a common biometric ID, so that if we have a visa-free Africa, it doesn't mean that I can travel without a passport, but if when I travel, I have an ID, which is a common biometric ID, so you know who you are. Because people say, when you say free borders, they think that it will compromise security. But now, the people who are benefiting without the free borders are more criminals because they know how to get in there. The serious business people are hampered by the bureaucracy of getting a visa and the rest of it. But once you have a biometric ID for all Africans, issued by their various states, when you travel to another country, they scan it, so they know where you are. And it creates even a greater security ecosystem for all of us. I was in Brussels a couple of months ago. From Brussels, I decided to take a train to London, St. Pancras. All I needed was a biometric ID, European biometric ID. It means even though we don't need a visa, but they still check your ID before you get in. So it doesn't necessarily, a borderless Africa doesn't necessarily mean that you walk in freely.
Just like that.
But there's a system that they can check. But you don't need to seek a visa and go through all the process. If you have a British passport and you have a Ghanaian passport, leave West Africa. You have easier access to the rest of Africa using a British passport than
using a Ghanaian passport.
You heard Ras Mubarak.
Yes.
The struggle that he had to go through. And what this is doing is a stifling progress. It is arresting the development of the youth. It's arresting their talent, their creativity, their innovation, and their capacity to move freely and make something out of their lives. So what we're saying is that, look, let this be your movement, i.e. the people of Africa. Let's sign this petition. And in 12 months' time, when they have the 40th AU Summit in Addis Ababa, we will take it to them and say, look, these are 10 million signatures from Africans. They're saying that enough is enough. The protocols, treaties that you yourselves, as our leaders, have signed up to, implement them. Now, why am I so positive that this is doable? In the 90s, late 90s, I was part of a volunteer of a movement that started in the UK. And you probably remember, it was called Drop the Debt, the Jubilee 2000. It was that movement that led to the Enhanced HIPIC initiative.
Oh, okay.
We traveled following the G7 meetings to protest and say, cancel the debt of poorer countries, including Ghana, as it turned out to be. And that's what gave us the space in 2021, 2022.
2001.
No, sorry.
2001, 2002.
Thank you so much. And within that movement, we managed to secure 24 million signatures of course, it was supported by some influential voices at the time. Bob Geldof was part of it. Bono was part of it. Muhammad Ali was part of it. Quincy Jones was part of it. Yasundu was part of it. So you had all these influencers supporting, big voices, celebrities supporting the movement. And of course, even the Archbishop of Canterbury. So it then grew as an NGO thing that started with Martin Dent and others, and it grew into a global movement. And within that period, couple of years, we secured 24 million signatures and formed the biggest human chain of 70,000 people, holding hands in Birmingham when the G8 were meeting there. After that, they signed up to HIPC. Okay. Now, just remember, even those days, we didn't have social media.
Yes. Now
But we do have social media. So the movement now will be more driven by social media. So
and we do have some voices as well.
Absolutely. I mean, even within the Ghana space, a lot of celebrities have signed up to it already. I'm sure Sarkodie, Stonebwoy, and plenty others are signing up. But beyond that, we have Mr. Easy, and we'll have a lot more. I'm
sure Idris Elba and co.
I've been in touch with them already. So it's that kind of movement, but we need to own the single market as a people. Let the youth, let the SMEs of the continent, let the big business of the continent. That's how we build our universal, if you like, global brands. Because once we have free access to 1.5 billion market, then we can grow the big businesses. They can then create the jobs that we need. So that's, if you like, the highlight of APD 2026. But beyond that, we have conversations. Last year, we had people from 47 countries attending APD 2025. This year, going by the registration that we received, participants are from 104 countries. And then we analyzed their nationalities, 95 nationalities. I'm sure it's still growing. When I checked last night, I think we had well over 5,000 people registered to come. There's 3 days of various activities. We have what we call Projet Afrique, which is Projet Afrique. That's me trying French. So Projet Afrique is an exhibition to project Africa, or made in Africa goods. So
I have rice.
You have absolutely.
So I can exhibit, yeah.
Absolutely. And interesting enough, when we did it last year, the automotive industry in Ghana, they brought all their vehicles, the ones that are assembled here, and they made sales for other African countries there. So coming to project your goods or your words is a way of, if you like, also finding market. Because even there, what we noticed also last year was that that's the collaboration aspect. You get SMEs that will want to also sell your products in other countries. So the Projet Afrique itself is a major part of what we do. So businesses from Ghana, if you don't take advantage of it and you wait for someone from Cotonou to do that. But that's really Projet Afrique. And then we have what we call the breakfast meetings. And I think we have about 12 separate breakfast meetings. These are all happening in the morning of day one, which is the 4th Wednesday, 4th of February. 12 separate meetings. And the meetings are like KPMG are doing a masterclass on how to scale up your business for cross-border trade. The banks and bankers are doing an SME in financing. So the banks that are taking part, they will show you how you can access financing or credit to scale up your business. We have a breakfast meeting on, I think, next step. This is by a youth organization called Drive to Inspire Africa. And they also, I think it's perhaps one of the most popular ones that we have. It's also about how to prepare the youth for the next step that they require in their career and the rest of it. Then we have one organized by ASET. Is it ASET?
I think it's ASET.
Yes, ASET. ASET on women. It's also about empowerment of women. We have one organized by Rigweld on oil and gas.
Oh, Rigweld.
Yes,
okay.
SMEs and the young youth
can
and
operate in
women
the oil industry.
And then we have one by an organization in South Africa, I think called Sedelib. They are into mining, and they're doing it in collaboration with Gold Board.
Okay.
On how to, for youth and women and SMEs in mining, how to gain, sort of scale up your business.
A powerful line of activities there.
Yes, and then there's several others.
I hope they won't be running concurrently because
they are running concurrently.
that word of because listening to you, I have interest in quite about 3 or 4 of them.
Yes, there's also there's several others. There's several others. If you go on the website, it's there.
But how do I take advantage of if I have interest in 4 and they are running concurrently? I'm missing out.
Well, those are the breakfast meetings. So you can, and they're all within the Accra International Conference Center.
Okay.
So you can move from
so 5 to 10 minutes here, 10 minutes later. Okay.
So that's that. And then we have the opening ceremony in the afternoon.
Okay.
And then the whole afternoon is dedicated to women. So we call it the Women Prosperity Dialogue.
Okay.
We have AU commissioners, we have political leaders from the continent, including first ladies. We have, we're expecting also, I think, some vice presidents. We're expecting, for instance, like the CEO of Fidelity in Nigeria. We're expecting women in mining, women in, of course, in banking, in telcos.
Women in agriculture.
In agriculture.
Those who farm with us.
Of course. And we are talking about big women who are doing well in cocoa, in coffee, some from Rwanda, some from Kenya, some from Cameroon, some from Cote d'Ivoire, and some from Ghana.
Okay.
So we have a series of stuff, and also women who are making it, whether in cosmetics that are made from a raw material, and scaling up and across not just Africa, but selling across the world as well. Then on this day 2, which is a Thursday, the 5th of February, the morning is dedicated to SMEs. Okay? So the whole conversation is also, but that's the plenary session I'm talking about. So the women event, the breakfast meetings are in small rooms. Yeah. But the Women Prosperity Dialogue is actually in the big hall. Big hall. 6,000 of people, about 2,500 or so. Then, so the morning will be about SMEs. Then in the afternoon, it's about what we call the Youth Prosperity Dialogue. Okay. And that, I think, is probably the most popular one because we have some celebrities also. Okay. Also coming. So it's about the creative arts, it's about the digital economy, it's about manufacturing, it's about everything, opportunities are available for the youth. And then on day 3, that's when we have the Presidential and Business Leaders Dialogue. So that's when we have the heads of states, we have the heads of the multinational institutions like AFDB, AfriExim, BADEA, who's the Arab Bank for Development in Africa, AFC, the rest of them, and of course some AU commissioners and the others. So that is the day that, and what we start with the petition, taking signatures from day 1, and then on day 3 we would launch the Make Africa Borderless movement campaign, movement. And what will happen is that we have like Chief Moments group. They will do an interesting, theatrical case for Borderless Africa. And I've seen excerpts of it, and I think really it can't be missed. Okay. Then of course we have big voices like Professor PLO Lumumba. Okay. Who else? Plenty. A lot of business leaders like Wale Tinubu of Rwanda, several others. But I think all the names are out there. You've been seeing them.
Well, but from how you've explained it, this should be expensive for me to register to be part of it, not so?
No. Okay. It's actually free. But what we're doing is that because of the sheer number of people, we're going to create some VIP seating. That it may cost some money so
Okay.
that you can guarantee yourself. Other than that, you have to come early to
So how do I register?
You go on the website. It's Africa Prosperity Network, one word.
Okay.
.com.
Okay.
Just that. Africa Prosperity Network.com. And then we have, in the evening of Friday, as in day 3, we'll have the Africa Prosperity Champions Awards and Presidential Gala Dinner.
Oh, okay.
Where we will, as we do, we will give awards to, I think, about 10 companies and individuals that have done exceptionally well for the continent.
Okay.
And then we have a dance, presidential gala dinner.
Okay.
But that you have to pay for. And that is not cheap because you're only limited seating. I think about 350 or so. But then you get to meet with the wine and dine with the
high and mighty of Africa. Yeah. Okay. Now, when I was going through something,
you can be high and mighty if you can afford it. It's not that much. Maybe $300 or so.
Oh, okay, but that's affordable. $300 is very, very affordable. Okay.
3,000 CDs.
Okay. I guess. I don't know if you've eaten a Vivi rice before. If you have not, don't worry. I'll bring you a sample for you to eat.
My problem is that I don't get to cook. So, but I insist on eating.
Okay,
Ghanaian rice.
I'll
but
target.
In our house, you only find Ghana.
I'll target Mrs. and bring her Vivi rice to try for you.
Please.
When you do, we'll come for this dinner. Yeah, I mean,
I'll be happy to promote it. Please.
Now, one thing I read was that, and this is a quote from one thing you wrote in the doc. It says, APD is not a talk shop. It's backed by AFTA Secretariat, supported at the highest level of the Ghanaian presidency. Produces tangible follow-up actions through APD compact advocacy, working groups, and private-public engagement. So I want to ask, what will you say is the biggest achievement from APD from this follow-ups you spoke about?
Okay. First of all, that we have created a deliberate, unique platform dedicated to how Africa can come together to build with urgency the single market. That's the first.
That's the APD?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the only, if you like, private sector-driven platform, of course, in collaboration with all our institutional partners. Okay, that is dedicated to pushing with urgency, bringing together the private sector, political leaders, business leaders, thought leaders, and institutional leaders that we meet once a year. At the beginning of the year, review the work that we've done in terms of pushing the single market agenda, because we believe that it is the surest way Africa can, with urgency, transform and create a society of shared opportunities and shared prosperity. We need that single market. So we've created this platform that focuses on how we can get it done, implemented fully, and consolidated. So that's the first achievement. The second thing is that when we meet, we come out of a compact and then we push the advocacy on certain issues. For instance, the first APD was supposed to be in October 2022, but we shifted it to January 2023. We came out with this thing that we need to have this protocol ready. I must say, the AFCFTA Secretariat, Smart Africa, GSMA, they're all working on it. Like, how do we get a single digital protocol? So we supported that process. Fortunately for us, in February 2024, through this, the work of AFCFTA Secretariat and all the others, the AU adopted the Digital Trade Protocol, which is the most comprehensive of such protocols anywhere in the world. And if you know, in Africa, the digital economy is what enables inclusivity for all players, regardless of your background or where you
So there's some work being done.
And then we followed that up with a symposium at Labadi Beach Hotel, where we brought the Safaricoms, the central banks, the regulators, the players. And they came up with a report that within a certain period, I believe they said by 2027, we should have a continent-wide mobile money interoperability. Fortunately for us, the AU Media Summit, where they bring together all the RECs, the regional economic communities, happened here in Accra, 21st July 2024. So we took the report to the government of Ghana, and the president took the report to the AU Media Summit, and it was unanimously endorsed.
Okay.
Now, the advocacy that we'll be doing from APD 2026, which is part of the Make Africa Borderless now, is to say that, look, you agree to this, okay? You agree to implementing PAPs, okay? Get all your central banks to sign up to PAPs. You agree to having mobile money interoperability by 2027. We want that to happen. You know, so really, it's about advocacy, it's about network, and we receive a lot of feedback from businesses, small businesses, that build network from there. So this is, they get access to market.
So this is different.
So it's like we are bringing Africa to Accra.
All right.
And you are bringing the rest of the world to Accra. Who wants to take advantage
of what's in Africa?
Of what's in Africa.
I'm grateful. I think once I've got you, let's talk more a bit about politics as well.
And you'll be interested to know that even the Commonwealth will be coming. The Commonwealth Enterprise and Investment Council, their leadership will be here, their members will be here, because 21 African countries are within the Commonwealth, and there are 56 countries. So they are bringing their businesses to be part of this because they want to take advantage of it.
I will be there because I'm excited by what you've just told me. Now, sitting here with you, you don't look fearful at all.
Fearful?
Yeah, but how did you feel about being codenamed the Prime Minister?
Am I still, I'm a Prime Minister?
No, those days.
No, but you know, I think what's interesting is that I think people know maybe the role I played, whether I was a statesman, whether at Danko Institute, and the role I play in terms of, helping the MPP with their strategies and stuff like that, advocacy and the rest of it. So I suspect when MPP won in 2016, they expected me to take a political opposition office. And when I didn't take one, they had to create one for me. So, so I think that's how the title came. But of course. So you were not the one who was the biggest puller of the strings. The strings.
Yeah.
The strings.
I mean, in governance politics.
There's a lot of propaganda going on. I mean, and I've said it publicly, that yes, of course, I had influence. Okay, but influence is not the same as power.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, it does.
Okay, you have access to the president, if it may be to his bedroom, because you've known him, he's not just family. I mean, I wasn't close to Akufo-Addo just because I'm family, no. It's because I supported him and I dedicated a lot because I believed in his vision and the rest of it. So we're that close. And then people expected that I will be offered a political position.
No, but your closeness means that he will listen to you.
Yes, the presidency is a lonely place. And when you are close to a president, you feel sorry for a president. Because it's so lonely. You have... I'll give you just a typical example. This was during the election petition in 2012. This is when he was just a candidate. And I was sitting in his study, and he receives a lot of people. And one pastor came, and I've forgotten exactly what the pastor said, but it was something to the effect that, don't drink water in the morning. It's not that, but I'm just using an example. And then 3 or 4 other visitors came. When they left, the 5th one was also a pastor. Drink water in the morning. Then Akufo-Addo said, I feel glad I'm here. And the thing is that, so you have all manner of things that you have to weigh. You are hearing all manner of things from various, but the final decision is yours. It's a lonely place. So yes, there are people who may influence your thinking. There are events that will influence your thinking, but you need to take the decision because the buck stops.
So did you tell him about the feeling of Ghanaians when he was the president? When you gauge the mood, were you telling him that, look, Mr. President, this is how Ghanaians are feeling?
The president knew better than I did. But let me tell you something. I don't know whether you studied, of course you did. You studied global affairs over the last 4 or 5 years. Okay? And you saw what happened, not just in Ghana, but in several places. Okay? The forces that were at play. Okay? And I remember sometimes people ask the question, why didn't he reshuffle? You hear that?
Oh, yes. The finance minister.
No, I'm coming. Why didn't he reshuffle? And I'll tell you Akufo-Addo's view on reshuffle before he even came to office. He didn't really believe in reshuffle unless he had the reason. It's not because you think he should do reshuffle, okay? Because this is there. He knows what his ministers are doing for his projects for the country, okay? He didn't necessarily believe in it. But if you notice when certain things were happening and you have a parliament, there's something, I won't go into details, but I'll tell you something that a British Prime Minister, I believe, said. He said to a businessman, he said, when you fire someone, okay, the worst they can do to you is they'll take you to employment tribunal. Okay? But they go. When I fire someone, they go and sit behind me and start plotting against me.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, I'm not going to go into details, but I'm just giving you a scenario.
Yeah.
And they start plotting against me. All right? You had Parliament. That was a split Parliament. A speaker that wasn't your speaker. Yeah? We remember the waving times that people had to be flown, one person had to be flown in order to pass a government program in Parliament. Huh? And you had this situation where you had to deal with economic crisis. Yeah? You had no control, or hardly any control, of the place where your policies have to be adopted, okay, approved before you can implement them. And you had no control of that Parliament, okay? All right, I don't want to get into details, but I'm just saying that when we sit back, when we've been, and I believe in posterity. So when we sit back, maybe the years come in, and we look at the situation that the country faced. So for instance, he comes into office, he sees mining to be a problem. He says that he takes a radical decision. I will ban small-scale mining, even if it costs me politically. And it cost him politically. Because when you look at the results of 2020, in mining areas, he lost.
Yeah.
And then what happened after that?
Okay.
He didn't have a speaker. He didn't control Parliament. And then the global cost of living crisis hit. Okay? Your budget, your first budget is thrown out. Okay? The policy that you thought, emergency policy that you thought could raise the money that was required to defray your debts, okay, had issues in Parliament that you couldn't control. And then investor confidence starts leaving. So they come in, they sell their domestic bonds, they take it out, change it into dollars, and then your cedi currency starts going down. You don't also control Parliament. And all these crises came to a head, okay? But I look at it and I say that government did not waste the crisis.
Oh, but they say reshuffling of Rata would have changed it.
I'm coming. You can sit here and say that.
No, that's wrong. This is not me saying.
You can say that, but I'm saying that you can say that. But the president at the time also knew what his ministers were doing to help him resolve the crisis, including individual ministers. I don't want to single out any person. Okay, he knew the role each of them had to play at that time. When he felt that he had things under control, then he did his reshuffle. Okay, so I'm just saying that it may be difficult for Ghanaians at the time, looking at what was happening, say, change this person, as if that's the cure. But he felt that he had a crisis and it requires certain skills and experience that had been gained to resolve it. And when he felt that it had been resolved, then he made the changes. Or he felt that things were stabilized.
Right.
And at the end of the day, we have to recognize that the government did not waste the crisis. Okay?
Okay.
He used the crisis to take certain tough decisions that some of us suffered from, including, I'm talking about those of us who are bondholders. Okay? But the sacrifices that we made involuntarily, because we didn't want to do it. We didn't want to suffer haircuts. But those sacrifices saved the economy for 35 million people. Okay. And it gave us a space. We saw it in HIPC. President Rawlings, God bless his soul, perhaps did not have the courage after 19 years to sign up for HIPC when it happened. Because, yes, some of us campaigned for HIPC to happen. But for him, but when President Kufuor came, he had the courage
to do it.
And when he did it, what did he do? He gave him the space.
How's your cousin doing?
Which one?
Ofori-Atta.
Oh, he's good. He's good. He's I sit down and I think that I don't know what he's going through, because whatever it is, and I saw some placards at the U.S. Embassy. And when you read the placards, they were saying how he made us suffer, as in the crisis. So which means that Ghanaians blame that one single person, or not, maybe not Ghanaians generally, but those who had the placards, for the economic crisis. That was not his invention. Okay? So I sit down and I think that this is a man who had made himself in the business community, decided to come into office.
Do you feel sad for him?
I feel, and if you're a human being, to know that this is a man that, because when you look at all the issues around him, I am yet to come across a single charge that they can say that Ofori-Atta stole money. It's as if he's being punished for the crisis that Ghanaians went through. He's being punished for some decisions, but this is a man that when the banks collapsed, which had nothing to do with him, it was the Bank of Ghana implementing an act that had been passed by Parliament before 2017. Okay? But his president told him, let me finish. His president told him that go and find money for the 4.5 million deposits.
Okay.
He did.
All right.
So, anyway, we leave it to. The facts will surely come out. But I'm sure he's well. Okay. And I think that I'm happy where Ghana is.
Okay.
Okay, right. In a sense that we have stability.
All right.
A lot of work has happened.
Our time
you didn't want me to talk, but
our time is fast. No, I think we should have gone into this earlier.
No.
Gabby Asare Otchere-Darko, Esquire, is founder and executive chairman, Africa Prosperity Network, APN. Thank you very much for coming.
My pleasure.
Oh, but you want to be trying for the moon?